Hello and welcome to the HMG Global Leadership Institute Recognition Program. I'm here with Mike Anderson, the Chief Digital and Information Officer at Netskope. Mike, you're my top pick for the Global Leadership Institute Recognition Program. Welcome to the spotlight and great to see you.
It's great to be here, Honor. Thank you for the recognition.
Hey, Netskope's an amazing company. What was it about Sanjay's vision and the mission of Netskope that drew you to get engaged?
It's a great question. Culture is always something that attracts you to companies. And, Sanjay has done a great job of building a culture where, we kind of put the org chart to the side and we look at, what are the problems we have to solve. And so I really like the culture, but, what really drew me to it, to Netskope was, we're at, 2,500 employees. We were roughly 1,200 when I started 2 years ago. Throughout my career, I've worked on both sides of the table, selling technology to technologists, as well as being on the buying side for over the past decade. And, it was exciting to come to a company in a hyper growth phase and help apply not just the knowledge I've learned in running IT, but what I've learned in running different functions across a company. So that's what was personally interesting to me about Netskope. But then when I saw some of the problems that we saw, particularly around when I think about the way our organizations are designed from a security standpoint, more and more of our applications have moved out of the data center. If you ask any business leader, they'd say, I'd go to software as a service first, and then I'd go into building something myself. And, but as I move more and more to applications that don't sit inside my data center or inside my public cloud environment, the ability to build granular controls around that is important. So when I looked at that problem, particularly things like containing public cloud sprawl and how Netskope was able to solve that problem, when I saw those things during the recruitment process, it really told me, there's something special here. And, and I've seen it do nothing but have explosive growth ever since I joined 2 years ago.
Well, interesting, fascinating. And Netskope truly is a global footprint that can support global clients, right?
Absolutely. That's, one of the things I enjoy is spending time with our customers. Question I always ask is, why did you partner with Netskope? And, I had a large global system integrator, their global CISO told me recently, there's a lot of security companies that start up and come out of, especially Israel has a lot of security startups that come out, because the challenges with a lot of security startups you work with, they have innovative technology, but they don't think about how do you scale security globally? How do you adhere with local data privacy and data residency laws? And so the fact that we thought globally and act locally was something that really made us a partner of choice. And so, we have employees all over the world. We've got, over 100 employees in probably a dozen different countries around the world today. So it's been exciting in the last year to actually get on a plane and go around the world and meet a lot of those people up close and personal.
And I know, Mike, you have a really close relationship with Sanjay and the C-suite. Talk to us a little bit more about how you interface with the C-suite and the board.
Yeah, so the key thing within a C-suite is we're all on the same team. I think we always have to remember that, and I think we've done a good job there of this isn't your budget or my budget. It's everybody's budget. At the end of the day, the ball all rolls downhill. And haven't always been a big fan of the left pocket, right pocket, because at the end of the day, there's only one financial sheet that we all get measured by, and that's the one that the investors and our shareholders look at. And as a public company, our public shareholders will look at. So a lot of that is just making sure we all know we're working together. And then the other piece is, and this bit has been my big mantra this year internally, has been, we need to build bridges, not walls. And to do that, we have to have radical transparency, because radical transparency helps us build bridges when people know what to expect. So that's been, how I've been working. But I have to tell you, the talent and the business acumen, and not just network security, but in business alone, that we have on our leadership team here is so impressive. Every day I'm thankful for the people I get to work with, the people who work on my teams, the people that I work with at the C level. And then the board has been exciting too, because, working for a tech company, I am the buyer they're going after. And so a lot of times there's conversations in that same regard with the board as we think about our strategy as a company. Oftentimes, I can depart ideas or wisdom around, as a buyer, what do I think about? What's my psyche like? And how do I operate as far as meeting new vendors? And so that's helpful as we form our strategy. That's also helpful as, we're having conversations with the board as well.
Exciting stuff. When you think of innovation, what are some of the cooler innovation initiatives that you're working on that you can talk about?
Yeah, I know a lot of it's getting into, obviously machine learning has been a big one. I'd say everyone always asks me about Chat GPT of late. We've got a security view on it, which has been, watch, play with it in the sandbox, which is what we're doing internally today. So we're being careful not to put sensitive data into that model because we don't know how it's going to be used or who else is going to benefit from it. But that one's exciting. I do feel like generative AI and conversational AI are the ones that I'm toying with because I feel like, I've always told my IT support leaders and service desk leaders, your mindset coming into the office every day is I'm going to work myself out of a job. The reality is that's never really going to happen. But if you focus that as your North Star and you ask, am I working myself out of a job in each thing that I do? It helps me think about problem management different. It helps me think about getting out ahead of things before people feel them directly. How can I keep people from calling because I'm do such a great job at problem management and self-service? And so those are some of the areas that I'm looking into right now from an innovation. That and then how do we get more science around our customers, what they're looking at? So I'm doing a lot of work with our go-to-market teams around, marketing data science. How do we get better buying signals around where people are looking at our technology? Because, we see, especially on a large deal, you can have dozens of stakeholders involved on the transactions that we're doing as a company. So having better intelligence that isn't all manually collected is an important piece as well. So that's another innovation area that I'm working on right now.
Excellent. When you've had an amazing career, Mike, what kind of career advice would you share with our audience?
Yeah, the first one, an early, mentor that I had in my career. There's been every mentor I've had that now are on my personal board of directors. So first piece of advice is start figuring out who's going to be on your personal board of directors, someone that knows you and that you can, have as a sounding board, whether it's, making a career change decision, you're faced with something at work that may be challenging to talk with someone that you work with about. They can really help you. So first and foremost, figure out who's on your personal board of directors. Some of the advice that I had gotten, first one of my first mentors, she told me, she said, next time you have a great, you feel like you have a great idea, I want you to think of the alternative options to that idea. What are the alternates that we could do? And I want you to come up with I want you to investigate those with the same earnest that you do your idea. And I want you to put the pros and cons together, and I want you to present them to me in a way where I don't know which one is the one have the most conviction about. And after I did this process, what I realized, she said, when you present to the board, if you see one answer that has all pros and no cons, and everything else has all cons and no pros, it's very easy to see that someone had a bias in their decision-making process. So when you present to a board or you present to your peers in the C-suite, is present all the facts, and everyone will generally come to the same conclusion or on what the best path forward is. The second piece of advice I got was you have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion. So listen and watch the room as much as you do, 5 times as much as you talk, right? Is that one. And then the last one, which is one that I've kind of spread down to my teams, is Leonardo da Vinci has a famous quote called simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And oftentimes we create our own unnecessary complexity in our worlds, our environments, our systems. And so complexity, as we know, is the enemy of security. And so try to simplify things, because that simplicity will help you in many ways, whether it's adoption or getting people to buy into a concept or idea that you're trying to present.
Hey, Mike, great pearls of wisdom. Thank you so much. When you think of success for you now in your career, what does success look like?
For me, I've always loved building teams, right? For me, success is rooted in how can I take a team of people, organize them in the right fashion, and then, you'd always say the great leaders don't light a fire under people, they light a fire in people. And so for me, the greatest measure of success of a leader is how many people can they tap into that inner fire and get them to achieve things they didn't think were possible before. So to me, that's always my definition of success, regardless where I'm at in my career or journey. I would tell you, I've been pretty enamored by I just joined my first board as a board director for a private company out of Germany recently, and I'm looking forward to that experience. It was fun being in the first board meeting, not being the one presenting to the board, but the person asking the really smart questions on the other side of the table. So I think for me, that's I hope the learnings I get here give me a round out my skill set in such a way that as I think to my future, I can do more of that type of work and as I move forward.
Hey, Mike, congratulations. You're a top pick for the Global Leadership Institute Recognition Program for 2023. Really appreciate the partnership as well. And Netskope's an amazing company. Again, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Hunter.